Chosen one. This time it's different. The change has happened. You've felt the shifts. You've noticed how things that once held you down are no longer in your way. This moment marks the arrival of a powerful truth. The change you've been praying for has already occurred. No more one day. No more soon. You've entered the new timeline, the new frequency, the new chapter of your divine assignment. This time, it's not a warning. It's an announcement. It's not preparation. It's participation. You're not waiting anymore. You're walking in it. Watch this video until the very end. It was divinely timed for you. Write your warmest wishes and the number 777 in the comments. This is the sacred signal we send to the universe, a vibration of alignment, gratitude, and supernatural confirmation that what we've desired has found us. The wishes are no longer just whispers. They are energy. And that energy is creating new realities now. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. You can feel it, can't you? Something subtle has turned into something certain. The waiting room is behind you. The threshold is no longer a place you stand at in hope. It's the door you just walked through. For so long, you may have wondered, when will my time come? And now, the answer is echoing all around you. It already has. The spiritual shift has been activated. The internal alignment has occurred. And the evidence? It's rising now in your thoughts, in your emotions, in the clarity that is blooming even before the physical signs appear. This change wasn't loud. It didn't arrive with fireworks or grand announcements. It arrived as a calm knowing, a holy stillness, an energetic shift that quietly rearranged your reality. This is why you've been sensing things differently. People are treating you differently. Your energy is being guarded, and your vision is being sharpened. You've stepped into the divine outcome without even realizing the last step was already taken. Chosen one, understand this. The version of you that was in survival mode has been left behind. The version of you that waited, doubted, and second-guessed has been replaced. You're now moving with spiritual authority. You are the result of the fire you survived, the battles you outlasted, and the discipline you chose when quitting would have been easier. All of it led to this exact moment. And this moment is no longer a rehearsal. It's the real thing. This time, it's different, because now you believe. You don't just believe in hope. You believe in what has already begun. You are trusting not in a possibility, but in a present truth. The change has happened because your heart was willing to shift before your hands could touch the results. The manifestation started inside of you. That is the real miracle, and the outer signs are already catching up. Think about it. The resistance you used to face just to make a little progress has melted. The heaviness that clung to your daily steps is lifting. The doubt that whispered in your ears is now quieter than your faith. The circumstances may still appear the same to the natural eye, but the spiritual contract has changed. The agreement has been sealed. The spiritual clearance has been granted. That's why things are opening. Because the old doors are no longer locked, and new ones have already been placed in your path. The divine realm has already sent the release. What's been spoken over you? The destiny, the breakthrough, the wealth, the healing, the influence. It's not just on the way, it's being lived now. In real time. In small ways and in sudden waves. You're no longer at the edge. You've crossed into your alignment. And that's why your spirit feels lighter, your discernment feels sharper, and your peace feels deeper. This time is different because you no longer need validation. You're not looking for signs to convince you. You know what you carry. You know what you've endured. And you know that the change within you is real, because it cost you something to become this version of yourself. It cost you comfort. It cost you sleep. It cost you isolation. It cost you misunderstanding. But it gave you clarity, power, and spiritual stability in return. Let's be clear. When the divine shift happens, it's not about what others see. It's about what you now refuse to carry. You refuse to carry old timelines. You refuse to wear the weight of old identities. You refuse to entertain environments that cannot host your expansion. And that refusal is what separates you from who you used to be. You don't need applause for this elevation. You need silence, solitude, and surrender. And that's exactly what you've mastered. This isn't just a season change. It's a soul shift. Your entire energetic frequency has moved out of delay and into divine flow. That's why opportunities will begin to find you. That's why clarity is going to hit you at strange hours. That's why people you haven't heard from in years will suddenly resurface. Not to derail you, but to be a reflection of just how far you've come. They'll see the difference. They'll feel the elevation. But they won't understand it, because they didn't go through what you did. What's happening now is irreversible. You can't go back to pretending you don't know your value. You can't go back to tolerating environments that deplete you. You can't go back to carrying people who refuse to carry themselves. That cycle is over. That test is passed. That version of you has graduated. Now, everything is moving to match the version of you that emerged from the fire untouched, unbroken, and unfazed. Yes, you'll still be tested. Yes, distractions may still appear. But now you'll handle them with the wisdom of one who has already crossed over. You're no longer proving who you are. You're protecting who you are. And in that protection, you've unlocked the next dimension, a place of flow, a place of divine confidence, a place where fear cannot follow. And the most beautiful part? You didn't force it. You didn't chase it. You didn't manipulate it. You aligned with it. You healed. You released. You surrendered. You trusted. You believed when nothing looked different. And now, because of that, everything is becoming different. What others call luck is just divine favor made visible. What others think is random is actually precision. And what they think is new for you has been waiting for your arrival. You've entered the part of your life where acceleration feels like alignment, where things begin to show up not because you begged, but because you became. And because you became, you are now attracting. You're a magnet for the good you've always carried within you. The shift was not in your world. The shift was in your identity. And now, the outer world is catching up. You've waited long enough. You've watched others seemingly advance while you stood still. But what they couldn't see was that while they were chasing stages, you were building substance. You were in development while others were in display. And now, the roles are reversing. What you built in silence will speak in volumes. What you developed in isolation will be seen in manifestation. You weren't being denied. You were being designed. This time is different because the delay had a purpose. It preserved your purity. It protected your integrity. It positioned your spirit for a weight of glory others couldn't carry. That's why they were released from your life. Not because they were bad people, but because they weren't built for where you were being sent. And now that you've been released into your appointed moment, there is nothing they could add that you don't already have within you. Feel this truth in your bones. You are not who you were even 3 months ago. The questions you used to wrestle with have lost their grip. The validation you once needed no longer excites you. You're not impressed by attention. You're moved by alignment. Your spirit has matured beyond noise and into knowing. And now, your decisions are clearer. Your vision is cleaner. And your energy is protected like never before. People around you will sense the difference, but they won't be able to name it. That's because the transformation wasn't cosmetic. It was cosmic. Your atmosphere changed. The way you walk into rooms is different. The way you speak has weight now. You're not trying to prove anymore. You are. Your very presence is proof that the process worked. You survived the breaking, and now you're operating in the blessing. And this blessing isn't surface level. This isn't the type of favor that makes noise but has no foundation. This is the kind of shift that has deep roots, because you watered it with tears. You nurtured it with faith. You protected it with boundaries. You let go of what you loved so that you could grow into what was meant. And now, the fruit is forming. Quietly, steadily, undeniably. Don't be surprised when everything begins to move faster. Don't be shocked when opportunities line up in sequence. It's not magic. It's momentum. Momentum that was earned through every lonely night, every hard choice, every silent prayer. What's coming isn't a gift for being lucky. It's a reward for being faithful. Chosen one, this shift didn't just happen around you. It happened within you. You changed the frequency of your thoughts. You stopped replaying the pain and started declaring the promise. You refused to stay bitter. You let go of resentment. You forgave those who never apologized, and you freed yourself in the process. That is why your atmosphere is now open. That is why your future is responding. Because heaven responds to healing. You've stepped into the season where ease begins to follow you. Not because life will be without challenges, but because you now move with wisdom. You no longer pour into empty vessels. You no longer chase counterfeit dreams. You don't entertain what doesn't evolve you. And because of that, the universe has cleared your path. That's why things will start to click. That's why money will begin to find you. That's why support is showing up from unexpected places. This time, you're not starting over. You're starting ahead. You're not repeating old lessons. You're implementing what you've already learned. You're not chasing the version of success the world tried to sell you. You're walking in a divine fulfillment tailored just for you. One that doesn't require performance. One that doesn't come with strings. One that's aligned with your truth. And in this shift, you will no longer tolerate the things that once drained you. You'll sense quickly who's for you and who's against you. You'll walk away without guilt. You'll say no without explanation. You'll guard your time like treasure because you finally understand. Your peace is too expensive to be sacrificed. Your vision is too precious to be diluted. Your journey is too unique to be compared. This time is different because now you see it. You see yourself. You see your growth. You see your purpose. You're no longer hoping for the light at the end of the tunnel. You realized you are the light. And when you embraced that truth, the tunnel no longer had power. You are carrying the frequency of breakthrough, and wherever you go, doors will respond. Why? Because your energy is no longer confused. It is aligned. It is decisive. It is magnetic. And let's talk about favor. Real favor. Not the kind that comes and goes depending on mood or merit, but the kind that follows you because you've embodied the assignment. That favor has been activated, not because you shouted for it, but because you became a vessel for it. You made space for what was meant. You let go of what you outgrew. You stopped forcing what didn't fit. And now, the real fits are finding you. That's why the old circles are shrinking. That's why the silence has increased. That's why you're being misunderstood by those who once knew you. Because they only knew the version of you that was surviving. They don't recognize the one who is now thriving. But that's okay. You weren't called to be understood. You were chosen to be transformed. So don't shrink now. Don't dim now. Don't question what has already been confirmed. The evidence will speak for itself. You don't have to explain how you got here. Just keep walking. Just keep aligning. Just keep listening to that inner voice that led you through the fire and into the promise. The voice that said, "This time, it's different." And it is. This time, the doors will stay open. This time, the connections will be divine. This time, the finances will flow freely. This time, the help will be sent without begging. This time, your name will be honored in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Because this time, the spiritual code has been unlocked. You passed the test. You showed up when no one was watching. You stayed loyal to the vision when nothing made sense. You planted when there was no rain. You praised when there was no proof. And because of that, the heavens took note. The reward has been scheduled. And now, delivery is in progress. Chosen one, rest in this truth. You are no longer who you were, and you will never be treated like that version again. The shift is permanent. The change is sealed. The transformation is complete. And the only thing left to do is walk in it. You've stepped into a version of life that feels unfamiliar, not because it's wrong, but because it's finally right. The old version of you became so accustomed to stress, uncertainty, and proving your worth, that now, when peace shows up unannounced, it almost feels strange. But that's the confirmation. Your nervous system is recalibrating to peace. Your soul is adjusting to favor. Your life is making room for joy that no longer has to be earned. It simply flows. You are now becoming what you once only envisioned. The gap between who you are and who you were called to be is closing rapidly. That's why people who once triggered you don't affect you anymore. That's why you're responding with clarity, not confusion. That's why you're acting, not reacting. Because the war you were fighting within has already ended, and the victor is the new you. This time is different, because your elevation wasn't about material gain. It was about spiritual identity. Now, when abundance arrives, it will have a foundation. Now, when connections are made, they'll be purpose-driven. Now, when success finds you, it won't overwhelm you, because your spirit is already prepared. The inside work is complete, and the outside blessings are simply catching up to that truth. You've been reassigned, and with this reassignment comes a higher level of discernment. You no longer entertain everything that grabs your attention. You no longer chase every opportunity. Why? Because you finally recognize not everything that glitters is gold, and not every door is divine. You only move now when your spirit says yes. You only act when peace accompanies the plan. That's how you protect what's sacred. Your silence has become your strength. You've stopped over-explaining. You've stopped begging to be understood. You've stopped giving access to people who only came to observe but never support. And because you've honored yourself at this deeper level, you've sent out a signal to the universe. I'm ready. I'm ready for divine appointments. I'm ready for chosen connections. I'm ready for the version of life that matches the truth I now carry. This is not a surface-level glow-up. This is a soul-level rebirth. That's why your walk feels different. That's why the things that once drained you now feel too small to engage with. That's why your future feels closer than ever, because your spirit knows it's already here. You're not chasing anymore. You're choosing. You're not pursuing blindly. You're attracting intentionally. Your entire frequency has changed. People may wonder how things are happening so quickly for you now. They'll call it sudden. But it's not. It's sacred. It's not fast. It's faithful. It's the release of what was always stored up for you, waiting for you to step into alignment. And now that you have, it's being poured out without restriction. The delay is over. The drought is over. The struggle is ending. The shift has already occurred. Every area of your life is being restructured around this truth. Your relationships will begin to look different. Your finances will begin to behave differently. Your mind will move in clearer, more focused ways. What used to be chaos now becomes clarity. What used to feel impossible now feels inevitable. This is the reward of internal alignment. When the inside is right, the outside must respond. You don't have to force what's meant for you now. You only have to remain in agreement with it. That means protecting your boundaries. That means staying in environments that respect your energy. That means making decisions that align with your healed identity, not your wounded past. You don't owe anyone a seat at your new table if they only ever ate from your pain. And yes, you'll still face challenges. Life won't stop testing you. But now, the difference is in how you respond. You respond with peace. You respond with strategy. You respond with spiritual intelligence. You no longer shrink in the presence of resistance. You rise. Because now, you know who you are. You've seen your strength in the storm. You've felt your clarity in the confusion. And you've heard your destiny whispering in the silence. You are not becoming anymore. You are being. And that shift from becoming to being is everything. It means you're no longer in preparation. You're in performance.